Hi everyone, McReaps here and welcome to the final episode in my how-to series on recording gameplay footage. Now this is going to be a little bit of a patchwork episode because we're going to squeeze in Audacity because it's going to be a really quick topic. We're then going to have a look at all of the different programs that we looked at so far. So we looked at OBS, ShadowPlay and DXTORY. I recorded about between 2 to 3 minutes of footage with each of those using different settings. And we're just going to analyze the size of the raw footage file, and I'll talk about the pros and cons of using it. And we'll go into that, and then we'll take a look at the render settings that I use for Adobe Premiere Pro. Now, I was going to do a tutorial on Vegas Pro, but I don't use it anymore. And I'll tell you why I don't use it anymore is because your GPUs from, I think, 7 series onwards, the quickest way hands down to render was with Vegas Pro using the Sony AVC, the MP4 format, and it would use your CUDA cores, and your rendering time, if you had a 40-minute video, use rendering in 15 minutes. It was really good. And when I had my 580, I could do that. Now I'm on a 970. That particular codec, I guess, whatever it's using, doesn't recognize the hardware. They've not updated the hardware, or the allowed hardware, the supported GPUs. They've not updated it for a long time, so you can't use it, and you can't force it to use it. So the render times are just horrendous. Wap wap wap. Yeah, they are just stinking bad. So they're not the greatest in Premiere Pro either. But the simple fact is Premiere Pro goes hand in hand very nicely with After Effects, with Photoshop, with anything Adobe related. So I mean, weighing up the pros and the cons, I am now using Premiere Pro, and I'll show you my settings there. If you really want to know my old settings for Vegas Pro, let me know, and I'll put them down. I'll give you the settings in reply to your comment, and you can do with that what you will. But they're just not working for me now on the new graphics card and the new hardware, which kind of sucks a little bit because I was really fond of Vegas, but I'm getting used to Premiere Pro now. Anyway, ramble, ramble, babble, babble. Let's get on with Audacity. So why use Audacity if OBS can record your mic, or DXTORY can use your mic? If you're using DXTORY, don't even worry about Audacity. It's fine, because you'll set up your DXTORY to have 2 channels. You'll have your mic channel and then your audio channel, and you can separate them and edit them independently in Premiere Pro. If you're using OBS, you can't do that. It gets muxed together, and you can't separate like mic audio or TeamSpeak audio or any other audio from your game audio. So that's when Audacity comes in handy. The free download, I'll pop a link in the description. Just go grab it. When you open it up, you'll see this. You can just set it up what your output's going to be. So when you play in the file, where's it going to output to? And in my case, I'm going to output it to my main speakers. You guys can hear it on the video. But normally I output that to my headset. The input, the microphone, is from my headset, and I have it set to mono because there's no point in having it stereo really, it's just voiceover. And you just go ahead, hit record, and it'll do its thing. It's always good to leave a couple of seconds quiet at the start of the recording. And I'll show you why that is. Like, if you've got background noise, it's definitely worth doing it. So like 2 to 5 seconds is more than enough. And then the next thing I do is obviously over in OBS I'm recording the video with the mic muted. Over here I'm recording the mic, and that's all that gets recorded over here. And you're going to want to sync up the video to the audio once you put it into Premiere Pro. And to do that, just a simple little thing. I'll grab a window or anything, and I'll just count down from 3. I'll go 3, 2, 1, go. And every time I count down a number, I'll move. And then that's just an easy way to sync up the audio and the video and the timeline in Premiere Pro. That's pretty much it. There's not much more to it than that. I'll stop the recording, let you listen to the quality, and I'll show you why you just leave a couple of seconds silence, either at the start or the end. So let us have a little listen to how it sounds initially. Hit record, and it'll do its thing. It's always good to leave a couple of seconds quiet at the start of the recording, and I'll show you why that is. Like, if you've got background noise. Okay, so the background noise that I had was in this area here anyway. If you've got a noisy computer fan or your mic's super sensitive and it can hear someone doing the dishes, because obviously it's not you doing the dishes, you're a gamer, right? Am I right? Yeah, we do dishes as well. Don't tell your wife and girlfriend or mother that, because you've got to uphold the bad boy gamer image or bad girl gamer image. Right, I'm just babbling away this time, aren't I? So you select a couple of seconds of what should be silence, and then you go to noise removal. You get noise profile, and this window will just shut down like nothing's happened. Once you've got your noise profile, Control A will select the whole track. Just go back to noise removal again. You've got your noise profile. Just hit OK, and it'll do its magic, and it'll take away that little bit of background. That little bit of background noise recording. So the fan sound's gone. You guys won't hear it anyway, I don't think, because I've got my headphones up super loud. But there was a very faint fan sound that's now gone. Trust me. I also normalize. I just use the default settings for all the normalization, things like that. And it'll do its thing. It's always good to leave a couple of seconds quiet at the start of the recording. So that just bumps the volume up to a good level, and then I also do the compressor. Again, just leaving everything on default, and that'll bump it up even further. And it'll do its thing. It's always good to leave a couple of seconds quiet at the start of the recording. And I'll show you why that is. Like, if you've got background noise, it's definitely worth doing it. So there we go. That's literally all I do to my audio. There's a lot of different things. I'm by no means proficient in Audacity. I use what I need to use, nothing more, nothing less. But you can get some pretty good effects by having a little play around with this stuff. And then when you're done, it's just a simple case of exporting the file. We'll export it as blah. And that'll, oh, was it really that quick? That was super quick. That's exported as blah. And then we just pop open your editing software. So for me, it's Premiere. And mine should be in here. Just drag it in. And put it on your timeline. Hit record. And it'll do its thing. It's always good to leave a couple of seconds. Nice and easy. That's how you export and import it into Premiere Pro. And that's pretty much it for the Audacity. Okay, so with Audacity done, we'll take a look now at the different raw footages. Kind of surprised at the difference between this lot. So DXTORY, again, fantastic piece of software, definitely worth the £20. If you have tons of hard drive space, lossless is the way to go. Quality is phenomenal, like watching the game all over again. There's no, it's lossless, right? It's pixel perfect. But it's huge file sizes. A 1 minute 57 clip, 9 gig. Not the greatest, but it was recording at 398 megabytes per second, which is insane. It's fucking ridiculous. If you need that quality, bearing in mind this is 60 FPS, so it's 1080p 60 FPS. My bottleneck on my system for this is the hard drive isn't quick enough. Even though it's coming in at like 167 meg. It was 210 meg per second. This thing just destroys it. I was averaging between 35 and 55 frames per second. Or I was fluctuating between 35 and 55 frames per second when I was playing The Witcher running lossless. I turned off the lossless encode and I was getting 90 to 120 frames per second. So it's a massive performance hit. But you're only going to get that performance hit if your hard drive's struggling. It's not that the game's making it do that. It's basically waiting for the hard drive before it rates the next frame. So it's dropping it down to 35 frames per second because my hard drive isn't fast enough. If you've got super fast hard drives, if you've got solid state and you want to record at 1080p 60 FPS and you don't care about size, this is the way to go. There's no better quality out there. If you take it down a notch, you take it to 720p 60 FPS, it's fine. Game runs smooth. 60 FPS it's just fluid. There's no drops. The file size is still gigantic, but you're not running into them performance issues. So bear that in mind. If you're running a similar setup to me, 1080p 60 FPS, and the lossless isn't really achievable. Moving on to still onto DXTORY, but it's the X264 codec. You can see there's a massive size drop. So it's a slightly longer video, like 10 seconds, but it's reduced. It's it's less than half the size of the lossless. Still coming in at 301 megabytes per second. I wasn't getting any frame per second issue. Bouncing maybe between 55 and 60, but it was stuck on 60 for the majority of the time of the video, and everything went nice and smooth. It's more intensive on the CPU, so if you've got a weaker CPU, then you can obviously change the settings, but this was best quality that I could achieve. 60 frames per second, nice and smooth, with a big file size. Then we went over to OBS. We used QuickSync, and this is where the angels sang and the unicorns galloped. It was glorious. OBS QuickSync is by far the best way for me to record. The quality is great. Not as good as the lossless or X264, but good enough. Good enough that after YouTube hacks it, it's still going to look very nice. I don't see the point in going for the lossless, personally, knowing that YouTube's going to destroy it anyway. For the file size versus the quality at the end, I'm not sure. I don't know. It's completely up to you. I don't really see too much of a difference. You guys let me know if you do. I used to record in X264 in OBS, which was higher quality. Go take a look at my older videos when Witcher first started, and then compare it to like 25 onwards in the Witcher series, and let me know if you guys can see a difference, because that's when I switched from 264 to QuickSync. QuickSync file size is really good. 3-minute video, just under 2 gig. You can see here the data rate's 95 meg per second, so the hard drive isn't struggling at all. The CPU isn't struggling because it's not being used. The game plays flawlessly. You still get your 110, 120 frames per second. Everything is nice and good. If you don't have QuickSync because you don't have an Intel CPU, don't worry, you can still use OBS's X264 codec, the default, and you end up with an even better file size. The quality of this is still really good. 55 meg per second is more than enough for 1080p 60 FPS. It's a really good quality, really nice small file size for the quality trade-off. It looks very nice. So if CPU isn't an issue for you, go with the X264 because it will look better than the QuickSync. If CPU is a bit of an issue for you, go with QuickSync if you can. If you don't have a great CPU and you still don't have QuickSync, your hard drive isn't that great, so you can't do the DXTORY lossless very well. Don't worry, you still got hope. If you have an NVIDIA card, you have ShadowPlay. If you've got AMD, I think they have an equivalent thing as well. But I don't really want to go into that because I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's called. But NVIDIA guys, you have ShadowPlay, so long as you've got a 6 series onwards graphics card. And I'm actually really surprised. I put it to 50 megabytes per second, and it looks really nice. It actually looks really nice. It's a bit of a janky frame width and height, but that's just because I was goofing around, and it came in at just under 700 meg for a 2-minute video. So file size to video length, really good. Best option if you just want small video, good quality. Best option if you've got just an outstanding hard drive. Go with the lossless. Outstanding hard drive, you don't care how long it's going to take to render, and you just want the best possible quality, then you're going to want to go with the DXTORY lossless. The middle ground for me and the holy grail is definitely QuickSync, because that has absolutely no impact whatsoever. Okay, so let's just check out the render settings and then we're all done. I always do H264. These are the presets that you get. There are a ton of presets. I always go with the HD. There is some YouTube presets down at the bottom, but I've had better experience by using the 1080p preset and then modifying it. Obviously, this isn't a video right now, so it's going to be a little bit crazy with what it tells you. It's just the audio. I'll set it up like I set my video up. You can either do match source and it'll lock everything down, or you can set it up yourself. I do square pixels, NTSC. I change it from main to high profile for more quality. Change it to 5.1 for more quality. That's the level that it's going to achieve. 4.2 is the minimum you need to do 1080p at 60 FPS. And the higher you go, the better the quality, the longer it takes, but the better the quality. I render at maximum depth just because it says it'll take longer and it'll look better in the tooltip, and the same down here, take longer but look better for scaling options. I do a constant bitrate, and we do a constant bitrate of 28. Seems like a nice place. It does inflate the file size quite a bit, but I'm not too worried about bandwidth. If you're worried about bandwidth, you can get away. I think like the average on YouTube is 16. 16 still looks really good. I just go 28 to try and retain as much of the original footage as I can. Whether it helps or not, I'm not sure. You guys tell me if you think my videos look alright. Then this is why they look alright. My audio format is AAC. Codec is AAC. Stereo is my channels. Quality is high. My bitrate is 192. Everything else there is fine in the way I want it to be. I'm not going to save that because I've already got it. But that's just my render settings, and you go ahead, you hit render, and away you go. So thank you very much. Hopefully this series of videos helped you out. If it did, or it's left you with any questions, go ahead, put them down in the comments. I do read and try to answer every comment that I get. And if there's any other tutorials that you guys want, go ahead, let me know. If there's something that you think I've missed off, or you generally just got a question about any of these topics that we've touched on throughout the series, let me know. It's always good to hear from you guys, whether it be good feedback, bad feedback. Thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down if you didn't, and I'll get a gauge on what sort of things you guys like to see and how I'm doing. Thanks guys, don't forget to hit the sub button, and I'll catch you in the next whatever it is I do. Bye bye.